Hi, it's Hugh Foster here with another quick lick. This one is all about double stops whilst also using the thumb in the right hand. A little bit of a weird technique to get used to at first. Not too dissimilar to just, regular slap bass where you're bouncing off the strings. But yeah, if you're interested in this kind of playing, I guess the only real person to look at, well, there's two people to look at really. I'd say Stanley Clarke and Les Claypool are really good at, lots of double stops whilst using the thumb. But anyway, before I move on to the demonstration, don't forget, if you like that and you'd like to get the backing track and the transcription in tab and standard notation, please head over to my Patreon and consider being a supporter. I really, really appreciate the support. Okay, let's break this one down. Let's first of all hear it a little bit slower. 1, 2. Okay, let's go into a bit more detail, starting with the double stops. What is a double stop, you may ask? It's essentially on any stringed instrument where you play more than one string at a time, achieving 2 pitches. Here's the reasons behind the name. These 3 chords are all the same kind of chord. They're called power chords or 5th chords, 5 chords. And essentially each one is starting with a root note here, and you're going up 5 notes up the scale. Say this was actually in major. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and you just play those 2 together. It's quite common in rock and everything, but yeah, this type of chord is used a lot by for example, Stanley Clarke in the song School Days, which I mentioned earlier. And all you're going to need to think about really two key things to consider. Use your first finger here and your little finger here. You could use your third finger in the left hand, but just be warned, lower down on the instrument where the frets are a bit wider, that might not be so comfortable. As you get higher up, obviously, the gaps are going to get smaller, and you could, comfortably use your third finger. But most bass teachers will tell you to use your first and fourth finger for almost everything, really. Okay, so let's look at the right hand. When you are using it normally with this slap technique, you might bounce off the string, okay? But in this case, you're kind of going through the string to make sure that you hit both strings that you need to hit. This takes a little bit of practice, but if you're making sure that your fingers are actually muting the strings that you're not playing, so my first finger and, well, actually my second finger is covering this low E string here. So even if I do accidentally hit that E string, it's not going to change anything, right? And this first finger here and actually this little finger here are both kind of just resting lightly on the G string as well to, mute that one as well. So that's a little tip with the way that you can use your left hand to mute the strings you're not using. Back to the right hand though. So thumb is going to go through the strings. And I don't know whether this helps physically or maybe it's just psychological, but if you open up the fingers of your hand, normally you might, close your hand into a sort of loose fist whilst you're playing slap bass. But I find sometimes opening up the fingers just helps with that, bigger movement. There's nothing in the way really of the thumb. I find it does help a little bit with double thumb as well. But anyway, we're not here to talk about double thumb. We're here to talk about double stops. Almost the same, not quite. So there's 3 chords there in the main body of this particular exercise. But at the very end, we've got this. Okay, let's hear that again. Right, so what's going on there? Well, first of all, you should know that, for me at least, this is very much influenced by Hendrix. I grew up listening to Jimi Hendrix a lot, and it's the kind of thing he would do quite a lot. Essentially, what you're doing here is outlining an A-flat major chord with just a little bit more thrown in. And once you know that, I feel like it does make it a little easier to understand, maybe. Okay, that's an A-flat major triad. A-flat, C, and E-flat. Okay, so, however, we're also introducing a B-flat here, right? Okay, so what's going on here? We're barring across two strings with our first finger on B-flat and E-flat, and then on the second string where you're playing the B-flat on this 8th fret, you're hammering on to the 10th fret, the C, and then coming back off again. All while playing, just holding on to that 8th fret on the first string. Okay, does take a bit of practice, but it's yeah, it's really fun to use. You know, if you're thinking about using chords, double stops on bass instead of just that, you know, it's something a little different. By the way, that higher one is literally the same thing in A flat transposed up a tone to B flat. Okay, so once you've learned one, it's pretty easy to play the next one. Well, pretty straightforward at least. Anyway, that basically covers everything in this one. Let me know how you get on. Let me know if you have any other thoughts, anything I might have missed. As I said at the beginning, please do consider supporting me on Patreon. I really do appreciate all the support I get, and it helps me make more of this kind of video and other videos in bass education as well. Anyway, that's it from me today. Take care, and I'll see you next time.